Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today. Today we are doing another Chicago Bears mock draft. You guys seem to love the last video with over 2,200 views and 70 likes. Let's see if we can break that record. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, as I will be getting into a bunch more draft content coming up. So I only have about 10% of you guys that watch these videos subscribe, so make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal of 600 subscribers before December 30th. Like this video if you enjoy it. Let's see if we can beat the like count for last videos, which was 70. Let's see if you guys can do that. And then comment your thoughts and opinions down below. The big thing I'll be looking for in today's video is what NFL team you would like to do for the next mock draft. I've done 2 Bears ones. Let's see what NFL team you would like me to do going on in the next one. So let's start off with today's mock draft. I traded the 2nd overall pick, which the Bears currently have, to the Carolina Panthers for the 6th overall pick and basically all of their picks. I got the 6th overall pick. I got one of their first round pick, or 2 of their second round picks, a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, and a 5th round pick. So got a ton of picks in return and only dropped back 4 spots. And I got the player that I was looking for in this mock draft, which was Will Anderson at the number 6 overall spot. I have no expectation that Will Anderson would actually be there if it's number 6 overall. I think that he could go and probably will go top 3, but maybe there's a possibility if you have a lot of high quarterbacks picked, which was kind of what happened in this mock draft. If you have a C.J. Stroud, a Bryce Young taken, if you take Jalen Carter, there's ways that that's possible, but I find it very unlikely. But I took Will Anderson, the edge rusher / linebacker out of Alabama. I think he fills that hole that you had whenever you lost, whether you want to say Robert Quinn or whether you want to say you lost Khalil Mack, whichever one you want to go back. But I think he fits a little bit more of that mold of Khalil Mack. But we'll see. I like this player. I think Will Anderson or Jalen Carter I'd both be fine with if you do stay in that top 3. And if you somehow get them outside of the top 3, I would be absolutely ecstatic for them. Then with my next pick, one of the picks I got from the Panthers, I got Rashid Rice, the wide receiver out of SMU. He's been rising up a lot of draft boards recently as one of the top wide receivers that's in that kind of second tier. The first tier kind of being more Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith and Jigba, maybe a Josh Downs, or a Quinyon Johnson, the wide receiver at TCU. So I decided to get the best wide receiver, and what I consider wide receiver are the tier 2 category, which was Rashid Rice. I think he is a solid player. He's a little bit more of a bigger body, 6'2" kind of guy, 200 pounds. I think 190 to 200 pounds. A little bit more of a big body guy, and that's what I was kind of looking for. I think you have a lot of speedy wide receivers, and I think those guys are a little bit more easy to get in free agency this year, rather than trying to get another big body guy like a Chase Claypool. I think that would really round out there, though Rashid Rice was the best wide receiver available, unless it was him or Zay Flowers, and both of them were very good players, so it's kind of a 50-50 split there. Then, with the number 56 overall pick, I took John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota. This is one of my favorite picks. I think that Schmitz really fits that role of that center that you are looking for, that position that you desperately need. I think a player that you are an extreme importance of. I love Sam Mustipher as a player and as a dude and stuff like that, but he is not the center that the Bears are looking for in the future, so we need to replace that. But I think John Michael Schmitz, him or Ricky Stromberg, the center out of Arkansas, are probably the 2 best centers in the draft, so I think you got one of the 2 best centers. Then with the 58th overall pick, 2 picks later, I picked Travion Hodges-Tomlinson, sorry if I mess up any of these names. I'm not great at pronunciation. The cornerback out of TCU. He has shown me in some of the games that I've watched with TCU that he's a dynamic player with a lot of length to him. I really kind of like him. I thought he played well in the games that I did watch, and I thought that he was overall had some good attributes about him that I was looking for in this draft class. Then, moving on to number 65th, I picked Jaret Patterson, the center/guard out of Notre Dame. I really like this pick because if you cut Cody Whitehair, add Jaret Patterson in, then you got your left tackle Braxton Jones, your left guard in Jaret Patterson, your center in John Michael Schmitz, your right guard in Tevin Jenkins. And what my hope would be is you sign Elgton Jenkins as right tackle, and I'm really liking that offensive line at the moment. Then moving on to pick number 89, I picked another wide receiver threat. That's Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah. I really like him as a wide receiver threat. I think that Cole Kmet has really developed in these past couple of weeks and over this entire year generally into becoming the tight end that the Bears were first looking for when they picked him. I could see him possibly getting an extension this offseason, but I think that to add another dynamic threat to that wide receiver core is important because I think Cole Kmet is a good wide receiver, but I think Dalton Kincaid does have some of those more to compare, like a more Mike Gesicki kind of attitude to him, a little bit more of a wide receiver based tight end rather than a blocking based tight end. And I think Cole Kmet is good at both, but I think that he is a decent blocker and a decent wide receiver. I think that Dalton Kincaid gets that more wide receiver-ness to him. At pick number 103, I have Will McDonald, the fourth edge out of Iowa State. One of the more productive edge rushers in college football. Had 11.5 sacks his sophomore year, 10.5 his junior year, and 6 this past year. Just been a really consistent guy, getting a lot of sacks. I think he's a good player, has some solid attributes, good overall body build and stuff like that, of having the height, weight, speed combination with that. And I think that he's just overall a good fit and a good player for this Bears system that you're just looking for talent all across the board. Talking about talent all across the board, I picked Chris Smith, the safety out of Georgia, mostly to fill in for that spot of kind of the DeAndre Houston Carson role of that third safety. I think that you have your top two safeties in Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, but I think you're kind of missing that third safety. I think the safety that, I can't think of, we signed a safety from Tennessee that I cannot think of his name. But he's more to block tight ends and stuff like that. Does a great job with him. I'm sorry, I cannot think of his name. If you want to put his name in the comment section down below, and I will, I'm sure, remember that name as soon as I finish recording this video. But either way, moving on to the next one, I think that, or real quickly to finish up with this one, I think that Smith does fill that third safety role really well, and that is part of the reason why I added him. Moving on to the next pick, I have KJ Henry, the edge rusher out of Clemson. I really have liked him all throughout his career in some senses. I think that he is, again, another solid edge rusher. This Bears team is so desperately in need of edge rushing talent that I'm just throwing 100 darts at the board and seeing what hits. Will Anderson is obviously in a league of its own. He's going to be an instant starter, hopefully a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro in the future. But more the KJ Henrys, the Will McDonalds are more of the, the more shots in the dark, the same way that you have with previous guys in like Roy Robertson Harris, or in the player that they took last year out of Dominique Robinson, or Trevis Gibson, or stuff like that. These are solid players and can be solid players. And Trevis Gibson, I believe, had like 7 sacks last year, if I was correct. And has played well, but I think that you need that superstar. But I do think that it's important to add some more pieces to that. Moving on to the next pick, I have another, talking about darts. I have the Bears selecting Jake Bobo with the 133rd pick out of UCLA. He is a wide receiver talent. I think that he's just solid overall player, has a lot of great route running to him, knows how to be able to move the ball well, and I think has a lot of solid attributes overall to him, so I like him there. Another kind of interesting pick out of left field, I have Andre, I'm not even going to try to say that last name, I'm sorry, Wide receiver out of Princeton, Andre Iosivas. I'm not even trying. I'm sorry. He's been extremely successful, has the attributes to be a great guy. I think we'll have a very high RAS score, and if you don't know what that means, relative athletic score. Basically, it's kind of how athletic are you, how freakishly talented are you. I think he'll have a little bit higher one of that, and has been extremely productive, though it is at an FCS school in Princeton. But I'm a big Illinois State fan. I do think that the FCS does have some talented players, and I think more of them should get a chance. The Bears did this quite a few years ago, but in Cameron Meredith, before unfortunately he tore his ACL, I think it was, and just was out for that season and just never was the same after that. Then at pick 143, I have the Bears selecting Tyjae Spears, the running back out of Tulane. I think that this is a running back that this past year has just played wonderful, and I think the Bears need to add another running back, with most likely David Montgomery leaving. Maybe he stays, maybe he doesn't. I just don't think it's that important to sign him back. But let's say you have Khalil Herbert, you have Tyjae Spears now, and you have Scotty B. You're gonna be so upset with me. I cannot think of his name. Tristan Ebner, the running back out of Baylor that we drafted last year in the 6th round. So just adding more depth to that I think is needed. At pick 152, I have the Bears selecting Ivan Pace, the linebacker out of Cincinnati. Solid player, watched him play. I think can be more of a 3rd or a 4th round, or maybe more of a 4th round pick rather than where I'm drafting him now in the 5th round. I think it's a solid player. The Bears definitely do need to add depth, though they did find somebody in Jack Sanborn that I think could develop into a starting caliber linebacker, and to a degree you could say has developed into a starting caliber linebacker. So adding to that depth, I'm picking Ivan Pace. My last wide receiver pick of the draft at 219, I have Jaden Hazelwood, the wide receiver out of Arkansas. Had a lot of talent at Oklahoma, transferred to Arkansas, had a solid season, not particularly great, but Arkansas has been so injuredly riddled, and however you say that, has been so riddled with injuries throughout the season that's really hurt, whether that's KJ Jefferson or the defense particularly. I think that he's a solid player with a lot of great attributes. This is kind of a theme, a guy with a lot of talent, agility, speed, and stuff like that. That is what I'm looking for, especially in these later rounds of the draft when you don't have as much certainty coming into it with these players. Finally, at pick 258, I had no other really needs on the board, so I picked Jake Haener, the quarterback out of Fresno State. I think maybe if you got rid of Trevor Siemian, this can be your quarterback 2, and maybe he's your quarterback 3 for a couple of years, and then you bump him up after Trevor Siemian leaves, so that way you don't have to deal with that position later. So that's it for this mock draft. Make sure that you tell me what mock team you want me to do next. Either way, hit the 2 videos down below. One will be the playlist, and hit the subscribe button up here. That's all for today's video, and as always, have a great day. Bye.